Yo, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence, and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us.
The fans keep showing up.
The fans
Keep showing up, regardless of what's going on.
That's true. The fans do show up. There's that the energy. Go ahead.
I look at it like a Bitcoin, crypto, Dogecoin. Like, we're patient, right? But they just keep trying to. The Browns keep trying to diversify funds, but it's like, no, just watch that one thing grow and focus on it.
Yeah.
Germinate it, water it. Like let's get another piece. Well, how about you develop the other pieces? Like our defense. Like, some of them are still even maybe undersized. Like, focus on them, grow. We've gotten better within the last 3 years. I think our defense is excellent, but I guess what I'm looking for is just saying, it just seems like they're want a reaction, and sometimes you don't really need one. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to create 4 wheels, and it's just like, you don't need to reinvent it.
There you go.
Gotcha. So, man, y'all said a lot there. I guess the next questions for you guys would be, we talked about the coaches, we talked about some of your disappointing events. What do you do to manage and cope with the Browns and their losing? How do you deal with it? How do you deal with it?
Wow.
That's loaded. No one jumped to go first.
I'll attack that one. I think I was sharing with some people, sharing with some of the guys here before we got started, that my level of investment, I'm still invested in the Browns, but I'm not as fanatical as I was with the first version. And that maybe is a function of, through the years, maybe there's other interests that I have and other things that are important to me, my faith, my family, that takes up more of my emotional, mental real estate now, that I try to boil it down to entertainment, and I want the Browns to be successful. That, to me, that's how I deal with it now. And if they do well, I'm elated. But I've tried to build in this protection mechanism that if they lose, it's not the end of the world. So I'm not upset to the point. When they won that game against Pittsburgh, I was over the moon. They were in it for a while against the Chiefs. I was disappointed they lost to the Chiefs. I wanted them to win that game too, but it does not engender in me the same emotion that when I saw them lose to Denver 2 years in a row in the late 80s. I probably shed tears at the end and was upset for weeks. Watching the Super Bowl, upset because it should have been the Browns. And, at this point, there's other things that are important to me, and that's how I compartmentalize it. Now, with all of the sports, it does not get me to the place that the level of investment that I had in my mid-20s and younger.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I guess I've lowered expectations a little less.
There you go.
However many decades. Yeah. So actually, it's harder now that they've been better in the last couple of seasons, because now when they don't
You are disappointed.
get over the hump, it's a lot
you
more
are
disappointing.
disappointed.
Dare I say it was easier when they were losing all the time. Now, if there are higher expectations.
I was completely checked out in those days.
Don't turn it on, right?
That's like whatever.
Go ahead.
No, but I mean, same with me. When you get older and other responsibilities, there are more things going on in life. It's harder to be as invested. More things going on.
Yeah. Gina?
Wow. I'm gonna have to say, before the last time I was very invested, where I was moved inside, was the Ravens Browns game. Let's place it 2017 maybe. At the goal line, Baltimore Ravens run back 99 yards.
yes.
It was we were going to run the game within 4 minutes. It was a turnaround. I was at that game. I have a video of it, cheering, and then 4 minutes later, still just fixed, like not moving. It didn't happen. Questioning. I say that to say that was the last time I told myself I can allow myself to be in that position where, like, I just keep replaying it. Like, I keep punishing myself. The play had been over. So now in my current state, I'm still very much, we'll watch the games and invest it wholeheartedly. However, I am now just saying it's just a game. And what I've learned in general with anything, even from my years of teaching or interacting with others, I cannot care more than you do. I cannot care more than you do. So until the Browns care more than me, I will move on, keep my faith, practice more of my faith and grow. And but I love hate.
That's interesting. What would you say?
I don't know, man. It's hard because I'm fully vested. I really am.
It's written all over your face.
It is. It's all over there. I'm like, every single beginning of the season, I'm thinking Super Bowl. I'm always thinking Super Bowl.
Even this season?
I still think it. But, I don't know. It's just, my family knows Sundays, don't bother me. I'm in my basement. I got my beer, my food, my nachos. I'm watching. I'm ready. And I'm cussing at the TV, throwing stuff.
Oh, been there, yeah.
Throwing stuff. Just what's going on with this play calling? Typical Browns back in the day, 3rd down and long. What do? Draw. Draw play.
Get 2-3 yards.
Yeah.
Come 3 and out. Here comes the
Three
play.
and out. I'm surprised we hadn't even brought that up.
I don't know. It's just hard. I mean, I'm fully vested, and it affects me on Mondays. It does.
Oh, it can.
It does.
And Tuesday.
Wednesday, you go to work Monday, everyone's down.
Repeat cycle.
Right.
Browns lost. And if the Browns win, everyone in that office where I work, everyone's happy.
Exactly.
You know what?
It changes the mood at work.
It changes.
I'm glad you. If you go something to consider, and I do know the topic at hand is the Cleveland Browns, but let's just talk about Cleveland. How many of us stayed up till maybe the next morning talking about the Cavs when they won, and they won again, and they won again? So when you lose on Sunday at 1, or maybe let's say 4 p.m., you have the whole rest of the day. You don't sleep at all. You don't know if you should talk about it on Monday because you're mad. And then it's Monday. Like, you lost on Monday.
It's just a crappy day.
So I'm just gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody
you got
has
a
the
point.
same sentiment.
There's a reason why the local talking heads call their Monday morning show Browns Therapy Monday.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Really is.
station.
Yeah, FM station, yes.
Exactly. So you get some cathartic expression,
It's
and
cathartic, for
and
sure.
emotions around around what is happening with the Browns. You got to deal that, and it feels like about 7 days a morning, like just going into this sense of grief, like
Exactly.
That's actually the word I use. I'm in mourning. I'll just
Yeah.
be like, I'm in, like,
So, I mean, that's why I had to do something, because that was the cycle for me. And then you look at the word fan, which is short for fanatical, right? And it's like being fanatical about something can be very dangerous
yeah.
if you're not careful. So I had to do something for myself to begin to, like I said, manage my expectations.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I'm not this devastated person on Sunday evening or Monday morning that life continues on.
but that's something else. Like, I just have this conversation with others, and I don't know, since we're all here as fans, just kind of being devastated about things you can't control. Since I relate sports to pretty much everything, you know what I mean? Even in speaking about different topics, but I'm like, okay, like, I can't control that they lost, but, like, how do I want to participate? I'll still watch. I'll still cheer. You know what I mean? So it's just what you.
Yeah. I liked your point about not caring more than they do, because then after the game's over, they're flashing the final score, and then guys from the opposite team, the helmets off, chatting it up, and it's like, you don't seem to be as upset.
Exchanging jerseys.
As upset as why am I sitting here? Oh, you got a big paycheck that you're cashing.
Well, 100%. I'm throwing bottles myself into the process.
Yeah,
Oblivion. Well, then I watch these press conferences, and it's like, hey, we just have to do better. I don't care if it's the QB or your head coach, and I'm just like, what is do better? Do better than last year? Because last year you were 0-16. Or do better than what? Do better than that last play? Because what was it? Flipped the football back, or you ran back for 7 yards and got sacked. Like, what exactly do we have to do better? Because isn't an excuse? I don't know.
Yeah. Exactly. So, with that being said, I mean, y'all said so many things, and one of the things I hear often is being able to have realistic expectations about your team. Realistic expectations. And sometimes it's hard as a fan to see things as it really is, because we get emotionally invested, and our emotions are not necessarily intellectual. So we tend to look at things as we want to see it. Sometimes we call it motivated rationalization. So we make our teams, we make our relationships or experiences better than what they are, because that's what we want them to be, versus looking at them as they really are.
But then we get into cognitive dissonance. So, I feel like as fans, we understand our assignment on Sunday, or like we're prepared. I'm in fan mode now. I went to training camp. But thereafter, like, I think it's like kind of life, what happens after life when you're still not where you want to be.
Yeah, and when you were part of that, and at the stadium and all those things and all that energy, that group thing, that vibe is going, and you just want it so bad, and so you rooting and you're cheering and you just want your team to win, and then when it doesn't turn out well, you just feel so empty.
Deflated.
Deflated, perfect word.
But now I think that's the thing, and why we're here. What does deflated turn into with disenchantment? Because I actually had to disenchant myself to get a grip on my reality. I was obsessed with the Browns. I'm still very much a fan, but I mean, it was, I have to do this. I have to make every game. I can't miss a play. No, I can miss a play now and still be comfortable or confident in my team. I think we're at a point where we can believe in going to the Super Bowl, but we need a restored confidence, and we get that from realism. Like, okay, what I saw in training camp, some drop pass. Yeah. Are we going to be real about cutting? I didn't want to say the name.
Sorry, Anthony.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, are we going to be real and retaining people who just can't meet the, I love even Baker Mayfield. He got a lot of heat. I believed in him because he had confidence, but then I questioned his height disadvantage.
Yeah. Decision making.
And decision making, his IQ, versus Kyler Murray, undersized, and he is rocking it. I don't know. So I just need a restored confidence of how they feel.
Yeah. Those are good things. Those are good points and everything. And you see your team evolve. I used to always listen and try to evaluate what the lines were like. People talk about like the skill positions, but I'm always focusing on the offensive and defensive lines, because I believe like if they're bad, your season is toast. Yeah. If you have key injuries, because you could lose one person off the offensive line and your game be so different. That's right.
You know what I always.
But they don't get talked about a lot. But they're so important.
To say about the Browns, because we have been so unstable or have an identity. I was just like, I don't care this year. I just want to be good on one side of the ball. I mean, dominate on one side of the ball. I don't care. I want the player ratings high, and then we could worry about next year developing, because we've never really had it all. And most people haven't. I think the Ravens won 1 year. Their offense was terrible, but they went to the Super Bowl because their defense.
They had a historic defense.
So you follow what I'm saying?
Amazing.
85 Bears type defense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who was it that won the Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl shuffle.
With the Eagles.
They had the kick butt offense, but it wasn't like the defense. Who did they have on defense? You know what I mean? So just be good on one side of the ball.
Yeah. That can happen. Look at Kansas City.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean, they don't have a great defense. Even the year they won a Super Bowl, that wasn't a great defense.
Yeah,
At least an indicator of progress. Right?
Yeah.
If you can get good on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
But- exactly. Go ahead.
No, right now our baseline is guessing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but for a lot of people, they'll have like romanticized about what the Browns would be, and I was going to ask that was going to be my next question. What do you expect them to do this year in terms of record?
Well, I will say this. I will say that on paper, that they've assembled as much talent that I've ever seen with this new Browns. This is definitely the most talented roster they've ever had.
Shout out Andrew Berry.
The new Browns is by far the most talented roster. There are some weak points in my estimation. I am concerned the receiving core is terrible. After Amari Cooper, I'm
Note
very
that we
concerned
don't have
about
to
the
do.
receiving core. You got to work on that. With running back, I think they're good. And of course, obviously, the elephant in the room is the quarterback. I don't know how much we want to talk about that. But that's
Say
the
whatever you want.
That's the elephant in the room. I like Jacoby Brissett, but he is a career backup. I'm not sure he's going to make enough plays. The schedules, we've got one of the tougher schedules in the NFL this year. And if we hope to even squeeze in as a wild card, we're going to have to win. In my view, no worse than 5 and 6 at the time that Watson comes back.
We really just need to regain respect from the league because you said we have a tough schedule this year. I've tracked every year. We've always had the toughest schedule, in my opinion, perhaps biased, in the NFL. We started with the reigning Super Bowl champs, at least 3.
Yeah, we never get a easy home game. Opener. We never
no,
get that.
No. So
Yeah.
I just think overall the league doesn't respect us.
It's a
But,
tough
you know,
And I think Deshaun is going to show some rust when he gets back. But I'm more hopeful towards next season. I mean, I'm not saying this season is a loss, but it's going to be, in my view, difficult for them to make the playoffs this year, in my opinion, unless the defense greatly overperforms my expectations.
Gotcha.
The defensive, I think they're good at defensive end. The tackles still have me a bit concerned.
agreed.
Outside of Core Moore, I'm still concerned about the depth, the linebacker. I feel pretty good about the defensive backfield. I feel that one rookie I like. Had that ripped a dude. Give me that. And brought back a pick 6 and just ripped it out the dude's hands. I can't think of his name right now. But Newsome and Ward. Key with those two guys is staying on the field. Best ability is availability. They both seem to be a little injury prone.
Yeah, that's true.
They both are healthy and can play. I think you've got one of the top bookend corners, outside corners in football.
That was well put.
Yeah, they got to stay on the field.
So you're hopeful they can have a decent season, but not a great season this year.
So I think high end for them with the circumstances they're dealing with, in my view, is 10-7.
Okay.
They can finish 10-7, managing all of this they've had to manage. To me, that would be a good season. If they do anything better than that, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Low end, the wheels could fall off, and I'm praying that doesn't happen.
What you say? We think it.
Well, I'm hopeful that they, Kevin Stefanski, if you're listening, run the football.
Run the
Run
ball.
the football.
Run.
Play solid defense. I don't
Yes.
see any reason why they couldn't be in the thick of
Yeah.
it at the end of the season.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna have to echo that in tandem
football.
with Hunt and Chubb with just run it.
Gotcha.
Problem is, even with that, you've got to have the defense concerned of that there's the threat of your receivers doing something, because otherwise they'll put 8 in the box and they'll try to do everything they can.
Well, that's the thing.
to stifle the running game. So you got to at least have the threat that you can do something downfield with the passing game.
Agreed.
Yeah. Or you got to have an amazingly really good offensive line that they can know what you got to do and they can't stop
Yeah,
it.
like the early '90s Cowboys.
Yeah, you couldn't stop it. You could know they're going right here, but you couldn't stop it because they offensive
And it's
line.
defenders that would say, I knew exactly what they were getting ready to do, but I couldn't get to Emmitt Smith till he was already 8 yards down the field.
Demoralizing.
Everybody knew what they were getting ready to do and couldn't stop it.
It couldn't stop it, And as the game rolled on, it became harder because people got fatigued. And boom, boom, boom. So with that being said, guys, I'm curious if you had to leave at being a fan, some coping strategies for yourself and for other people to help you. I know we talked about being realistic, but is there any other coping strategies you guys might suggest for people who are fans who get all invested in their teams?
I mean, some of it has already been said. I mean,
Exactly.
For me, it's boiling it down. It's entertainment. It's just a game.
It's just a game.
Life goes on, and for many of us, as you get older, you experience things in life, and you find out what's really important. Dealing with, some people have to deal with relatives, close loved ones, getting terminally ill, and your family, all of these things. And I love football. I love baseball. I love basketball. I love following all of my Cleveland sports. But there's a point that I recognize at this point in my life, there are definitely some things that's far more important for me that warrant more of my emotional real estate
Gotcha.
to deal with.
You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, just expectations, keeping expectations in check, perspective, right? Having other things in your life in order to keep perspective that it's just a game.
Just a game.
Yeah, just kind of segregating like where your time is warranted, and then also taking the opportunity in those down moments that you might find as a Cleveland fan, instead of maybe connecting with a team, connecting with fans. Like, I haven't met you fellows here, and we have the same vision. So when you're out, enjoy yourself at the bar or at home with that family time. Just use that, especially coming out of COVID. With so much distance that we've had from one another. I think this is a great time when we draw with the Browns to just kind of get back to the normal. I hope our new normal is winning.
Exactly.
You're here.
And one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Teach those young people about the history of this franchise, because it is a storied history of the franchise.
It is.
A proud history.
It is.
And most people who know about the Browns only know about the Browns from 1999 and onwards. But
That's true.
Yeah.
won all those championships, and
Yeah.
it was the AFL in the 50s. And
Yeah. Did you know that the Paul Brown started the Browns in the mid '40s in a conference called the AAFC,
Yep.
and they dominated the conference. The conference, the league conference, whatever you want to call it, folded, but like 3 teams merged into the NFL. One was the Cleveland Browns. 1950, their first year in the NFL, they won the NFL championship.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm actually
1950.
brought that up.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I think a part of our history is who we are, because right now we're kind of a joke,
Right.
and we're not, like you said, just those
Yeah.
respectable, honorable players that are jacketed. Go down to what, about 40, 50 miles to Canton. We do have a presence as Cleveland Browns, and we need to be understood like that.
Yeah.
That's huge. They need to know.
yeah, that's right.
That's right.
You know what? I think the idea of intergenerational knowledge is such a powerful thing, because sometimes when we look at stuff, we look at it as a picture versus a motion picture. So we don't really understand the story, or we haven't read the book. So we just see what we see right now. So the Browns are not that good right now. So that means the Browns are not that good. When you look at their history, they have one of the most storied franchises of all time.
Yes, sir.
And that's why it's important, not just with this, but many other things. Look, I want to thank y'all for coming in and talking about this important issue, because I just want to emphasize the importance of people being able to manage and cope with their emotions and feelings, because anxiety is a monster when it comes to our teams. And people will do all kind of things to try to manage it. And some of those things are unhealthy, becoming depressed. Some people become very depressed. And unfortunately, there's been even acts of aggression towards family members and loved ones that we have to definitely terminate from our lives. And a lot of it is because we don't have the right perspective around our sports teams and understanding it's just a game. It's something to be an escape. So we have to approach it with balance. But when we get too deep into it, we lose ourselves in it. And now we start making really bad decisions. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming in today. Thank you. Maybe we can do this again a little bit later down the way.
No, thanks for having me.
I appreciate y'all for coming in today. Listen, if you enjoyed this show, please go down and add your comments and tell us what you liked about the show. Don't forget to like us and please subscribe. Thank you. And I hope to see you in the next episode of Therapy is Life. Thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is what we do. Have a nice one.